Chapter 4, The Age of Industrialization. Question answers from Class 10. Subject, Social Science. Book, India and the Contemporary World. Part 2. Write in briefs. Question 1. Explain the following. A. Women workers in Britain attacked the spinning jenny. Answer. The spinning jenny was a machine devised by James Hargreaves in 1764 that speeded up the spinning process and reduced labor demand. By turning one single wheel, a worker could set in motion a number of spindles and spin several threads at the same time. Women who survived on hand spinning lost their work to these new machines, and the fear of unemployment made them hostile to the new technology. This conflict led to instances where women attacked and tried to destroy the machines. B. In the 17th century, merchants from towns in Europe began employing peasants and artisans within the villages. Answer. Merchants turned to the countryside because urban crafts and trade guilds were powerful in the towns. These guilds controlled production, regulated prices, and restricted the entry of new people into the trade, making it difficult for new merchants to set up business there. In the countryside, poor peasants and artisans, who were looking for alternative sources of income as common lands disappeared, eagerly agreed to produce for the merchants to supplement their shrinking income from cultivation. C. The port of Surat declined by the end of the 18th century. Answer. Before the age of machine industries, Surat on the Gujarat coast was a major port connecting India to the Gulf and Red Sea ports. However, by the 1750s, the network controlled by Indian merchants began breaking down as European companies gained power. These companies secured monopoly rights to trade, leading to a dramatic fall in exports from Surat. The gross value of trade at Surat slumped from 16 million in the late 17th century to 3 million by the 1740s, and trade shifted to the new port of Bombay. D. The East India Company appointed Gumastas to supervise weavers in India. Answer. The East India Company wanted to establish a more direct control over the weavers and eliminate existing traders and brokers. They appointed paid servants called Gumastas to supervise weavers, collect supplies, and examine the quality of cloth. This system also involved giving loans, advances to weavers, which tied them to the company and prevented them from dealing with other buyers. Question 2. Write true or false against each statement. A. At the end of the 19th century, 80% of the total workforce in Europe was employed in the technologically advanced industrial sector. False. Less than 20% of the total workforce was employed in technologically advanced industrial sectors. B. The international market for fine textiles was dominated by India till the 18th century. True. Before the age of machine industries, silk and cotton goods from India dominated the international market. C. The American Civil War resulted in the reduction of cotton exports from India. False. It resulted in an increase. When U.S. supplies were cut off, Britain turned to India, and raw cotton exports from India increased. D. The introduction of the fly shuttle enabled handloom workers to improve their productivity. True. The fly shuttle increased productivity per worker, speeded up production, and reduced labor demand. Question 3. Explain what is meant by proto-industrialization. Answer. Proto-industrialization refers to the phase of industrialization that existed before the factory system. Even before factories were set up in England and Europe, there was large-scale industrial production for an international market. This production was not based on factories, but was decentralized. Merchants from towns supplied money to peasants and artisans in the countryside who produced goods within their family farms. Discuss question 1. Why did some industrialists in 19th century Europe prefer hand labor over machines? Answer. Abundance of labor. In Victorian Britain, there was no shortage of human labor, so wages were low. Industrialists had no problem hiring workers at low costs and did not want to invest in expensive machines. Seasonality. In industries like gasworks and breweries, demand was seasonal. Industrialists preferred employing hand labor for specific busy months rather than investing in machines that would sit idle. Market demand. The market often demanded goods with intricate designs and specific shapes. Example, axes, hammers, that could only be produced by hand, whereas machines produced standardized goods. Class preferences. The aristocracy and bourgeoisie preferred handmade products as they symbolized refinement and class. Question 2. How did the East India Company procure regular supplies of cotton and silk textiles from Indian weavers? Answer. The company used a series of steps to ensure supply. Direct supervision. They eliminated middleman traders and appointed paid servants called gamasthas to supervise weavers, collect supplies, and examine cloth quality. System of advances. To prevent weavers from selling to other buyers, the company gave them loans to purchase raw materials. Contractual bond. Weavers who took these loans had to hand over their produced cloth to the gamastha and were barred from taking it to any other trader. Question 3. Imagine that you have been asked to write an article for an encyclopedia on Britain and the history of cotton. Write your piece using information from the entire chapter. Answer. Britain and the history of cotton. The history of industrialization in Britain is intrinsically linked to the history of cotton. In the era of proto-industrialization, merchants moved to the countryside to get textiles produced by peasants. However, the late 18th century saw the coming of the factory, with cotton being the first symbol of this new era. The import of raw cotton into Britain soared from £5 million in 1760 to £22 million by 1787 to feed this booming industry. Inventions like Richard Arkwright's cotton mill brought all production processes under one roof, allowing for better supervision and quality control. Cotton was the leading sector in the first phase of industrialization up to the 1840s. As the industry grew, British industrialists pressured the government to impose duties on textile imports and force the sale of British goods in markets like India. This led to a flood of Manchester goods in colonies, destroying traditional weaving industries. During the American Civil War, Britain shifted its raw cotton dependence to India, causing prices to shoot up for Indian weavers. However, the dominance of British cotton declined during the First World War. With British mills occupied with war production, industries in colonies like India recaptured the home market, and Manchester could never regain its old position. Question 4. Why did industrial production in India increase during the First World War? Answer. Decline of foreign imports. British mills were busy with war production to meet army needs, so Manchester imports into India declined effectively. Rise of home market. Indian mills suddenly had a vast home market to supply without foreign competition. War demands. As the war prolonged, Indian factories were called upon to supply war needs such as jute bags, cloth for army uniforms, tents, leather boots, and horse saddles. Expansion of capacity. To meet these demands, new factories were set up, old ones ran multiple shifts, and new workers were employed, leading to a boom in industrial production. Project work. Select any one industry in your region and find out its history. How has the technology changed? Where do the workers come from? How are the products advertised and marketed? Try and talk to the employers and some workers to get their views about the industry's history. Answer. Sample project. The textile industry in India. History and technology change. The textile industry in my region, referencing centers like Mumbai or Ahmedabad, started in the mid-19th century. The first cotton mill in Bombay came up in 1854. Initially, technology relied on simple mechanical looms and imported machinery. Over time, there was a shift towards more advanced technology. Even in the handloom sector, technology changed. By the second decade of the 20th century, weavers began using looms with a fly shuttle, which increased productivity. Where do the workers come from? Historically, workers came from the neighboring districts. For example, over 50% of workers in the Bombay cotton industries in 1911 came from the neighboring district of Ratnagiri. They would often move between the village and the city, returning to their homes for harvest and festivals. Advertising and marketing. From the very beginning, advertisements played a part in expanding markets. Labels. Manufacturers put labels on cloth bundles, example, made in Manchester, to make the company name familiar and signify quality. Religious imagery. Images of Indian gods and goddesses, like Krishna or Saraswati, were were used on labels and calendars to give products a divine approval and make foreign goods look familiar. Nationalist message. Later, Indian manufacturers used advertisements to spread the message of Swadeshi, urging people to buy Indian-made goods if they cared for the nation. So friends, we have completed question answers of Chapter 4, The Age of Industrialization. If you like the video, kindly like, hype the video and share it with your friends. Also subscribe for more such videos. We will meet in the next video. Thank you for watching.